loud. All right, welcome back to If They Won't Listen. This is the bonus content, Space. It's made in a Hollywood basement. It's me, Leon Andrews, the host, with the other hosts. Beam them in. Spencer, get in here.
Spencer Ross here. How you doing today?
Oh.
Oh man, only if I could freestyle right now.
What was that? You can't freestyle.
No, I gotta have a couple of drinks in me to freestyle. Then the my mind gets all lubed up and ready to go.
All right, Spencer, what are we talking about today?
Oh, we're going to talk about the pop culture phenomenon known as Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna take a selfie.
You're taking a selfie. Oh boy.
Anyways, yeah.
That's essentially like giving the ass to our viewers, like the back of your phone.
The back of my phone. I know. I'm trying to create a social media presence, and I went, you know what? That's crass. That's crass because it looks like ass.
You know what you should do? You should be like one of the astronauts, like they kind of like turn around like this. They just go like, but like have that face the camera and take a picture.
We are talking Wrath of Khan, second movie to come out in what was 1982. It is the second movie. We've already established that. Star Trek. Where do we start? Let's start with a synopsis.
Yeah, let's go with the synopsis.
All right. When Admiral Kirk, now relegated to a desk job, training new people but training as an instructor for people at the Starfleet Academy, goes on a training mission, which becomes a much more dire mission when an old face returns for vengeance.
So well said. Did you write that down?
No, I actually pulled that one out of my ass. I got nothing written down on that. I literally kind of just...
I see words on there. You could have something written down.
You want to take a look? Yeah, there's words. Yeah.
The Wrath of Khan. Yeah, there we go.
Got some timestamps there, guys.
Oh, I like your little timestamps. That's really good.
All right, so let's go through some facts here.
Yeah, I love to hear the fun facts.
Let's listen to the fun facts.
It's a great little segment we got going on.
I love it, right? I kind of stole it from the Office Ladies pod, but you know what? It's a great format, and I love it. All right, so let's start with release date. June 4th, 1982 is when this movie came out. That is 3 years after the first movie. Came out 1 year after Empire Strikes Back, but a year before Return of the Jedi.
So let me get this straight. The motion picture's 2 years after A New Hope, and Wrath of Khan is a year after Empire.
Yes.
That's interesting. That's a cool fact.
They wanted Paramount really wanted to get another Star Trek movie to keep riding on this wave of sci-fi that everyone is just absolutely enthralled by, because Star Wars really just reignited this love of space operas and whatnot.
Well, we were talking about that last time.
We were,
because of Star Wars. 1979 was such a magnitude of like so many sci-fi films. As a matter of fact, the director of this film, Nicholas Myers, also directed a sci-fi film in '79 called
7%, something like that.
No, like Time Work.
Oh, Time After Time. That was
Time After Time. Yeah.
Time After.
Yeah.
So he also did. Yeah, go ahead.
So it was that, and then there was Aliens, and then there was Moonraker. So like everybody had the little hand in the pot. I just find it funny that Star Trek: The Motion Picture came out the same year as a Nicholas film, who just so happens who winds up making his first feature film off of that, and then his sophomore film is this.
I know that is incredible. Very cool. So other things that Nicholas Meyer has worked on was Invasion of the Bee Girls and The Day After. There you go.
Have you seen Invasion of the Bee Girls?
Yes, I have. It's sexy.
Is it really?
I thought it was hot.
Is it sticky? Like honey sticky?
Oh my God, you know it. All day, All day, every day. There we go. Good. All right. Another fun fact that I was reading on the Wikipedia page with Nicholas Meyer. There was a number of rewrites with this script that came through, and it went through a couple of stories. Originally, it was Gene Roddenberry that wanted to write about them traveling through time, and then that got scrapped. And then it got
JFK's assassination. They wanted.
Yeah, it was to prevent Klingons from assassinating JFK. I would have loved to watch that, actually.
I'm so glad they ditched that.
I would have loved to watch it. I don't know about you. That sounds amazing. And then they brought in Harve Bennett to write it with Jack B. Sowards. But the fun fact I want to talk about is Nicholas Meyer rewrote the script, taking everything that everyone liked about previous iterations, putting it all together, and for some reason went uncredited on that. So he never got credited for writing the story.
He was so caught up with the work and everything, he totally forgot to put himself as credited.
I know, isn't that crazy? So with a budget of $12 million, they box office $97 million. That's 8 times the cost. 8 times the cost. Where the motion picture only made over 3 times the money back.
Yep,
that's crazy. So no wonder Paramount considered this much more of a success, and for almost a quarter of the budget, or a third. Actually, no, a third of the budget.
Oh, a third of the budget, and they kept Gene Roddenberry in an office.
They kept Gene Roddenberry in the office because we didn't talk about this on the motion picture, but the motion picture script took so long. It was originally written in 1975, and it took on, and so many rewrites happened all the way up until 1978, 1979.
Yeah.
So Paramount didn't like that because they were very dissatisfied with the motion picture, and decided, we want to do this right, but we're going to relegate Gene Roddenberry to a desk job to kind of put some creative input, but not a lot.
Which is the greatest movie you could do.
It's what they did to George Lucas.
Yeah.
In Empire Strikes Back. They took a cue from that. Paramount looked over at Fox Studios and said, "You know what, guys? We need to do that."
But correct me if I'm wrong here. Didn't George Lucas actually have to interfere with the filming of Empire because things were going over schedule?
Well, yeah, he had to come in. It's still his project. He's an executive producer. So, of course, he has to move everything along, or else it's his ass on the line.
Yeah, but I just mean, as opposed to, Nicholas here. I think where Gene Roddenberry laid down the foundation and the heart of Star Trek, I think Nicholas laid down the realism to Star Trek.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, so here's another fact. Shooting of this movie took 3 months.
Yeah. They used a lot of the same sets.
They really did.
It's incredible how they filmed this movie. They were just chop and go, chop and go, chop and go. They're all right, we got William Shatner for half this time of 3 months, and then we got Khan for half this time of 3 months.
It's funny because that's a pretty accurate statement of what went on in during the production of this movie. But so going back a little bit, they eventually landed on Harve Bennett. Now, this is what's interesting about Harve Bennett, who wrote the main storyline. He had no idea or never seen any Star Trek. So what he ended up doing was binge watching all the episodes he can. And after doing that, he was very interested in the episode Space Seed, which was the episode with Khan.
Did you watch that, by the way?
I did. I watched it afterwards.
Okay. What'd you think?
I liked it. I thought, all right, Ricardo Montalbán.
Yeah.
In that episode, just stole the whole episode for me because of how suave and how much of a ladies' man he is, that he was able to entice this Starfleet officer to join his side, betray the Enterprise,
She was halfway there, though. You can tell how miserable she. Like, dude, as soon as she was getting her smock on to like do the painting, they call her name, and she's like, "Oh, like I have to work." And then she takes off the smock and everything. So you can tell already she's unhappy with working for the Federation. And then after that, Captain Kirk never gave her any kind of affection that he usually does throughout the series with other species. Here's Montalbán, Khan, and she's all into the 90s. So she's like, oh, this is nostalgic, awesome. I'm getting attention. Somebody's appreciating my work. Yeah, I'm going to trade sides.
Fantastic episode, right from beginning to end, and then gets exiled along with the rest of the super engineered humans of the eugenic wars of World War something.
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny. So Harve Bennett was really into that episode and wanted to bring that back. So then it went through a couple of rewrites with Jack B. Sowards coming in to write what was more of a filmable, quote unquote, filmable script. Kept going, and it just eventually led to Nicholas Meyer to finish up the rewrites, and then they landed on it, and and we got a pretty incredible movie out of it. So, props to the writing team. I never realized that so many rewrites can happen. But then again, if you looked at the original Star Wars, they went through a dozen rewrites before we landed on the one that we got.
You're absolutely right. I mean, really kudos to the writing. That is so true. The story, the character development. I mean, everything that was on the page, you could tell was just on film also.
Totally.
But I think there's so many other elements that truly come into play for this movie. I think there was a lot of unknown good talent before people could recognize how great their talent was. For instance, James Horner.
Oh,
he's the musical composer to this movie, and he has to follow up like Jerry Goldsmith, who's like everyone just loves his score, right?
Right.
And this is like, and it's amazing because James Horner is like a legend. I mean, the guy's done everything and everything. I mean, one of the more famous things he done recently that people would know of is like the Dark Knight trilogy. But like he's so young and cheap in this movie. He's like in his 20s. And it's like no surprising after listening. No, seriously, like after listening to the adventurous space journey theme that like he puts together for this film, it's literally no surprise that like the next follow-up film he winds up doing is like Aliens.
Right. Yeah. It was very, very very well composed and very well orchestrated music, which orchestrations were done by Jack Hayes, music by James Horner, as you said. Now, and you got to give props to the production crew, as I think, Industrial Light and Magic, which is George Lucas's thing, also worked on a lot of the CGI in this film.
Well, there's actually just one major CGI scene in this film.
There is, but there was other special effects that was done, and they used a couple, and one of the main ones was Industrial Light and Magic from Lucasfilm Limited.
Yeah, they did the whole Genesis effect of showing what it would be like, which if you think of, which is actually mentioned, it was one of the very first in the film series. Like, Nicholas Myers actually claims that like that is the first CGI effect you'll see in a movie.
Wow. Okay, yeah. That's some big shit. Now, a little bit more. Costumes were done by Robert Fletcher, and set decor was done by Charles M. Grafale. And I have to say, props to those two guys. Props to them because they ran such a great. They said they had such a great project. Yeah. The costumes in this movie were phenomenal. I was in love, especially when we got to Con. Thought those outfits were dope.
Right.
So Robert Fletcher had a lot of. Yes! Oh my god!
I love it. I love what you're spewing here.
I know, I love it, right? But I like how Robert Fletcher had creative input on the costume designs. So how he wanted to make Starfleet uniforms this very dignified look to them. And then when the appearance of Khan, they had to appear very outlander, very rough and tough. And he fucking nailed it. All right. Fucking nailed it.
They did. The
There
naval
you go.
winter Star Trek look is one of my favorite uniforms in this whole franchise.
It stays for the rest of the film series, if I remember correctly. You
Just
see it in
about,
the
like-
other movies.
Yeah, you see in the other movies, like sometimes there's one other one in later films where kind of they kind of put it to a side just a little bit, but they do get back to it later on.
Right.
But like, yeah, I mean, the turtleneck, the belt, the jacket. I mean, it's simple but has class.
I want that outfit now. I want to cosplay as. Don't you want it now?
Yeah. Who would you cosplay as in that costume?
Kirstie Alley's character, Saavik.
You would do Saavik?
Yeah, I'm gonna I'll do a gender swap Saavik.
That's awesome.
That's what I'm gonna do.
But also, or what?
George Takei.
George Takei, yeah, George.
Yeah, Ensign, not Ensign Sulu, Lieutenant Sulu.
Lieutenant Sulu, yeah, dude, she really knows how to work up her ranks without even being too flashy about it. She's like, yeah, you don't know it, but I moved up. But like, speaking of Khan's costumes, man, they had this like awesome like it's like Mad Max dirty style.
Yeah, that's literally what it reminds you. Thank you. That was what I was looking for. It was very Mad Maxian. That's a new adjective now. I'm coining it. It's Mad Maxian.
It's coined. Your face on the coin.
It's gonna look like this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's fucking great. You want it? Let's go. Let's go down actors. What do you think? You ready to go down to the actors?
Yeah, costume design, set design. Yeah, why not? We could go to actors.
Yeah, why not? Let's go to actors. Original cast is all back reprising their roles. That goes without saying. But we have some newcomers to the table. We have Carol Marcus, played by Bibi Besh, who was in The Day After, Tremors, which Day After is also another Nicholas Meyer movie, Tremors, and also various guest appearances on TV shows that I just didn't feel like listing out. But that woman had work. She had work. Guest appearances, still get paid.
Real character actress, huh?
A real character actress, Bibi Besh. Okay. Then we have her son,
Can you say
David
that again,
Marcus,
Bibi
played
Besh?
by
I love that.
Bibi Besh. But a character actress,
so rich.
Besh. Son, the son, David Marcus, played by Merritt Buttrick, or Buttrick, however you want to play it. And he was only in a few stuff, guest appearances, Zapped, Chips, Square Pegs, and he died at a very young age. He was only
Captain Kirk's son?
Captain Kirk's son ends up dying in real life at a very young age.
That sucks.
I can look it up really quick, and I can tell you a lot of cast members and production crew, except for Nicholas Meyer and Shatner, Nichelle Nichols, and George Takei. A lot of the cast members that were in this movie in production died. I was going, wow, this is a very depressing movie. Yeah, so he died in 1989, and he was only 29 years old.
Oh, wow. That's true.
Yeah.
All
so
right,
he didn't really get much of an acting career, which is a damn shame.
But he's well remembered in this movie.
Oh, he's fantastic in this movie. I thought he was doing so well that he could have just been in other Star Trek movies had he lived further than 1989.
He's like a Boy Scout planetarian. Like he kind of reminds me of like an in real life Captain Planet sort of side. It's just like because he's so like all about Genesis and everything, and he's just like military force can't have this. It can only be mine.
Cannot.
Mine.
It belongs to everyone, not the military. They'll just militarize it.
Oh god, that is so good. And it's unbelievable that actor got the role simply because he had curly hair like Shatner and blonde hair like BB.
Yeah, I would think that. I think that might have been the reason why he got it. They went. You know what? The acting chops are gonna come later, guys.
Yeah. We'll make this one work.
All right. So Lieutenant Saavik, played by the illustrious Kirstie Alley, who was best known for, of course, Cheers, Veronica's Closet, Luke Who's Talking with John Travolta, Hitchhiker, an episode of Hitchhiker, an episode of Love Boats. So that's a little bit. I didn't want to go through all of her filmography. You could look it up yourself on the Internet Movie Database after this. And then as we go down, we have Captain Terrell, played by Paul Winfield.
Whoa. Back up on Kirstie Alley there.
Whoa. What do you want to say about Kirstie Alley, bro?
I mean, first of all, what a Vulcan. I mean,
yeah, all right. Gorgeous.
Yeah. No, really. Like I'm amazed. I'm not like the biggest Kirstie Alley. Like I love Kirstie Alley as in like her comedy sense of humor, but like in this performance she pulls off here is some of the most legit acting in her career.
I was so impressed. I've only seen her in comedic stuff. You're right. Yeah. That's all I've ever seen her in. And to see her in this movie from the early 80s, she was so phenomenal. Just a great actress, just a great actress. She really nailed the character down. I can never think of anybody else who could play Lieutenant Saavik. She was fantastic.
You know, looking it up, when I was looking it up, Kirstie grew up as like a huge Star Trek fan.
Really?
So, yeah, and her like when she was younger, she like literally wished that Spock was her father. So like when Allie like finally landed the role, like she made an impression on Leonard Nimoy. She's like, I can impersonate you, like you as in Spock, not as in Leonard Nimoy.
Right.
And it seems like the role was always meant for her because like everyone was like thrown back on like how well executed she actually did a Spock performance. And to pull off what she does in this, to make it like, I'm sure she's doing a little bit Spock improv that she has in her back pocket, but at the same time, like, you know, she's really, you know, she's really nailing this. And have you ever watched Cheers, by the way?
No, I mean, I've seen clips of it here and there, but I don't think I can. I cannot remember a time where I watched a full episode of the show.
If you look it up, I forget which one it is, but if you look it up, there's a Cheers reference of her character, Saavik, from Wrath of Khan that they make in the show. And I forgot, I think it's like the Post guy or Norm, either one mentions it. And when they mention it, they actually cut to Kirstie Alley and she kind of looks at the camera and gives like a little wink.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, yeah. And I was just, I always found a little impressive that they kind of throw a Star Trek reference into Cheers.
Oh, it's funny. No, I do like it when TV shows or you know they do little they do little allusions or references or little winks to the audience, knowing that hey, we know that this person was in a really big major film that we're gonna do a quick reference to that, see if you pick it up. I do like that. It's just you know the writers are talking to you in a way.
Yes,
dig it. All right.
So what else you got down the line?
Captain Terrell, played by Paul Winfield. His includes playing Martin Luther King Jr. in the MLK Jr. Miniseries, a movie called Sounder, The Terminator, LA Law, Mars Attacks, which is a terrible movie, Cliffhanger, and Original Gangsters. I didn't care for it.
Oh, that's interesting. We should get to that one day because that's a sci-fi.
And I've read the comics, and I read the comics. It's a whole nother thing. And then, of course, lastly, Khan, played by Ricardo Montalbán.
Yeah.
Illustrious Ricardo Montalbán, who got his start in acting in Mexico, made a name for himself, and eventually became an international star in America in other films, which, of course, include Three Musketeers, Fantasy Island, and then all of his guest appearances, because this guy does not say no to work, and every time he does, he fucking gives it his all. Freakazoid, Kim Possible, and Family Guy.
Oh wow, I didn't realize he did Freakazoid. That's pretty cool.
He played Armando, the one that was going, laugh with me, Jocko, laugh with me.
That's cool. That's cool.
Laugh with me, Jocko. Laugh with me, Jocko. Yeah, that was Khan.
Like I gotta say, like, Montalbán gives a Shakespearean Oscar-worthy performance here. I mean, like the monologues that he has is always just like you're just like, oh, let me like get cozy here because this is going to be good.
He's putting on an acting workshop in front of William Shatner. He's like, no, we're going fucking great.
and you know what? You know what else is just as great as his performance?
Mm-hmm.
That chest. Montalbán's
All right,
chest
I
is
actually
epic.
So I wrote that down here. I timestamped that. Fucking literally timestamped that bitch. Where is it? Because I even put it on. I paused it for my wife to see, and I went, dude, what is up with that? It is amazing.
That is epic. That is fucking epic.
It was hilariously and fucking. Oh, here we go. At minute 22, 52 seconds into the movie, I wrote down intimidating man boobs. Because when he's there and he's sitting, I just went, oh my goodness.
Oh
my impressions of that one. That's an intense chest.
And you know what's really funny is that his gang, his crew is basically assembled from Chip and Dale dancers. So like he's still out doing the best of the competition in that moment. That's fantastic. How epic this man's chest is.
I remember my wife and I had we were pausing just to admire the chest. Now was that prosthetic or was that all him?
That was all him. Nicholas Myers tells the story about like how that was him. And like if the camera wasn't rolling, he was just doing push-ups to keep building it up.
You got to give me a reference on that one, bro. But that's amazing. Ricardo Montalbán is dedicated to the craft.
He really is.
All right. Well, that does it for little facts about the production and actors for the movie. But we get into it where the movie opens up where it is a training sequence known as the Kobayashi Maru training sequence. That is a no-win scenario, which is later referenced again in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. It's used as a nice little subplot in the Star Trek film.
Yep. And then
J.J. Abrams one.
Yes.
But the Kobayashi mark is like a really great... it's a great metaphor for this whole movie.
Yeah, putting yourself in a no-win scenario. How do you come out that with the best character?
Well,
right.
Okay, that's interesting. I like how you're looking at that because I kind of almost see it in a different way. I look at it as it's like it's a test of one's inner acceptance of death, and the idea that Kirk could like cheat death shows that he really failed the test altogether. Like,
because he reprogrammed it. Yes. He reprogrammed so that he can win because he can't accept losing. It is said later on, more than halfway through the film, he says that later on. But yeah, that's what's really funny about that is in the Abrams Star Trek, how that's what Spock accuses Kirk of doing when he beats the Kobayashi Maru test in that movie. So we can always touch on that when we decide to watch those movies. For now, at 7 minutes 56 seconds, Spock's death is foreshadowed because the doors open up after the whole, when Kirk just tells Saavik that, this is not how the way you would go about doing this. Why? Blah, blah, blah. Kind of just schooling her on that. But when the doors open up, Spock is there and he says, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be dead? He says.
Fascinating. No. It's fascinating. Like,
yeah.
Wait, just like on one more moment to touch upon the Kobayashi.
Tell me.
Mark. He winds up playing the Kobayashi mark throughout this whole movie. It's like he's finally experiencing the true test of the Kobayashi mark in this film, and he's got such a great like adversary to go along with it. And when you were mentioning about Captain Kirk like finally popping up, it's like the silhouette reveal of Kirk is so friggin' heroic. Right. And the bromance between Spock is so legit. Like you could feel the history between these two with the way they communicate each other. It's like a nice little dance in their own way. Like, don't get me wrong, D4 Kelly or Kellister, I don't know, but DeForest Kelly actually like has a way of like kind of also working a nice little flow with the other two actors, but it's like Spock and like Kirk, where it's just like the yin and yang of just a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, they complete each other. Where Kirk is up in the stars, but Spock is on the ground of logic.
Yes, so well said. Yes,
you're welcome. Yeah, and then once again, we're seeing Kirk's desire to not be at a desk. He wants to be among the stars again, and goes on this training mission.
Mm-hmm.
And the training mission eventually turns at some point, and then we get at 12 minutes and 20 seconds, we get a great synopsis of what the project Genesis experiment's all about, creating life on a lifeless planet, and they chose CD5 Alpha 6.
What a brilliant story! Like, what a story. What a brilliant plot line to actually put into a film. Like something so advanced thinking. Like I find this to be a very mature kind of a way to approach it, and yet it sells so easily. It's like we're gonna create a new planet. We're gonna put life there. It's like, I don't know. It sounds a little complicated. We're like, no. Just watch this video, and then it's like, okay, let's do this.
We're in, guys. Sending down Chekhov with Captain Terrell onto the planet for a quick scout, because they think there is life forms that might be on the planet, but they have to be absolutely sure. We're at 17 minutes 28 seconds. We're now introduced to the SS Botany Bay. Now, I didn't get this right away. I just know that it makes Chekhov really, really nervous and worrisome. And then there's an ambush. It wasn't until I watched the episode afterwards that I realized what SS Botany Bay was. It was where they got exiled on.
No, US Botany Bay was the original ship name that they were on when they were discovered in Space Seed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it's also
right.
it also references towards the colony. And if you really think about it, at the end of the episode, they kind of kicked out the ship Botany Bay, and I think they kind of gave them a new one. I think.
Yeah, they said fuck off.
Yeah, they're like, yeah. And that was Khan. Khan was like, I don't need my old ship. I'm about to take this one over. But I mean, like, space seat aside, I think the busted up ship tells such an isolating story.
Right.
And the reveal of the books gives you a set of tone of what's going to play out for the rest of the movie. And the debacle of Botany Bay and the reveal of Chekhov's face. I mean, it's just onions of layers of wonderfulness. It's just like, what the hell does this mean? Even if you saw the show, you kind of know what it's going to mean and you're really excited and hyped up. And if you don't know what it means, like, you had this instant curiosity of like, shit's about to go down.
Oh yeah. And then that's when you get the 1840, you get the reveal of one Khan Noonien Singh. And I have to say, because I watched this out of order. I watched the movie first, and then I watched the episode. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, the synopsis that they get you so up to speed in this movie takes under 2 minutes to get you up to speed. And I love how they were able to exposit. It's done in a monologue by Khan. Mm-hmm. And it's delivered so well, and the expository was so quick. I felt like my time was never wasted, and that's something I have to really appreciate about this film, is how they were able to. I go, I don't get it. Why is this guy a bad guy? You know, I never sat there and questioned. But one of the things that they explain is a genetic engineered superhuman from 200 years ago, from the great year of 1996. I might have to add. Let's talk about what came out in 1996 here. Movies: Independence Day, Twister, Mission Impossible, The Rock, Hunchback of Notre Dame, 101 Dalmatians live action, Ransom with Mel Gibson, The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy, Jerry Maguire, and of course, Space Jam. So of course, we have to genetically make superhumans in that year. Did you see the amount of movies that came out?
That was a lot of movies. Also, another sci-fi alien movie. I think the reveal of Khan is just as great as Kirk in a way, because like where you had the silhouette of Khan with Kirk, you get the layers of clothes coming off with Khan, which it all like kind of makes it like all the more like revealing. It's like, who the heck is this guy? What is this building up to? And the metallic gloves, like the way it just comes off, it
just
like
pulls it off. He only leaves the one on. It's
such a cool introduction, but I'm almost positive Michael Jackson got the one glove idea from here, though. I was just like, I think Michael Jackson copied that. Possibly, don't know for a fact. But either way, Montalbán, Space Seed, or Wrath of Khan, his hair is fantastic.
Oh, fucking great! Like I said, this whole this movie was such a visually pleasing movie from beginning to end.
Yes.
Let's see. So then, at minute 36 to 37, that's when Kirk and the Enterprise move in to investigate suspicious activities that the apparently Starfleet is taking over Project Genesis. They go to investigate that, and we skip over to the first confrontation of when Khan ambushes Kirk with the USS Reliant.
Yes. This is This is a really great moment because like this is the beginning essentially of like a game of poker. Like you have two people coming to the table, like, you know, one's ready with their big stake, the other one doesn't know exactly what they're going in for. It's like, who's this person with the cap and the glasses? And then all of a sudden you just kind of see a slow bet go on. And like that is the metaphor throughout the whole movie. It's just a game of poker between Kirk and Khan.
I was definitely looking at it as more of a predator prey situation, very likened to reduce it down to a cat and mouse, if you will. The cat finally has the mouse where the cat wants him, right? And he gets him from right behind, of course.
Yeah.
And it was so well done. And of course, at some point, the tables have turned, and now it is the mouse who's got the cat corner, but the prey has now become the predator in a way. Just fantastic. And then as we keep on revealing more and more, if we want to keep, I kind of, didn't want to timestamp every little thing, but to sum up, Captain Kirk.
So hard not to.
It's so hard not to, but there is a lot that does happen. Captain Kirk is able to beam aboard onto the Rugula 1, where he meets with everybody and sees this death scene. And then you end up finding out that David Marcus is actually his illegitimate son. And Khan steals the device themselves, which this is where I put it in. At 1 hour, 10 minutes, 43 seconds, the most famous line of this entire movie that's so quoted.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And that goes back to my poker play. It's like, I love how we don't see much of either's hand.
He loses it.
But
he loses it.
He doesn't lose it. He bluffs him. He kind of bluffs it. Like he knows he's got the Genesis. Like that part sucks, but like in a way, it's like, he just kind of got outbid there for a moment. But he's just like, all right, like they're both pushing each other on tilt in some way, shape, or form. Like the stakes kind of keep equaling out for each one. One makes the move, the other one, winds up losing. The other one not loses, but the other one gets, loses that little bet.
That round.
The other one re-raises. And it's incredible. I think this is brilliant storytelling right
so
here.
Great, but
brilliant.
It's yeah. Oh yeah, it is great story. But that line that after where Khan basically swings his dick at Kirk and says, "I got what I needed, and I don't need to destroy you because I've already destroyed you because I got what I wanted." And then not only that, he talks about Marla McGivers.
Oh, yeah.
But he never says her name. He just says,
my wife.
"You exiled me and you buried my wife alive." And then that's where you get the famous Khan line where that you talked about face acting. That was William Shatner's delivery of that anger of Khan.
Yeah.
Where you just see his face shake and then he yells it out. So good.
It is.
So good.
It is.
Very,
I would
very-
like to know how. I would love to know how many takes it took to finally get there.
I think at some point he got frustrated after take 76, and then they caught what was real.
Myers!
Where's craft services? Oh my god. So now at 1 hour 26 minutes 30 seconds into this movie, the tides of battle change where they go into the nebula, but still Khan is able to give a good chase, but is revealed that by Spock that his patterns, though well done, are limited, which they were able to take advantage of, and were able to come at him from to actually come at
down
Khan.
below and behind.
Boom, and then a battle ensues, which they do major damage to one another. Damage to one another.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Oh, it is so good.
This is the part of the movie where you're not even realizing it, where it kind of just plays out like a submarine film.
Oh
and
yeah.
And that's the thing about Wrath of Khan. It reminds me at moments like the Hunt of Red October. It's like you're seeing one go after nothing, one going at each other, the other one trying to make a move, and it's like Myers makes this swashbuckling, adventurous film that I just can't get enough of.
Yeah, it is such a. It really does. It's got a lot of execution to it, where you're really watching, a submarine battle or even any kind of naval battle is what you're really just witnessing, but it just happens to be in space.
Yes.
In
And
space.
this is the element that Gene Roddenberry could never bring to the table, and this is what Myers did. And I think what Myers did really sets a precedent for the future franchise of Star Trek.
Yeah, because when in my adult years, it really dawned on me that Star Trek is not just a sci-fi show. It's a naval show that just takes place in space.
Yeah.
And I find that very
cool.
They're discovering new worlds, new life, new civilizations, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what they're doing. That's what early explorers did when they went on their ships and they just set out to went out to India, they went out to the Americas. That's what they were doing. They were looking for new life and civilizations.
New passages, new journeys, new borderlines.
Exactly. And that's what makes that's the one thing I really like about the Star Trek universe.
Yes.
One of the things I really like about it, because then it was really when I was watching Star Trek, the original series, when I would hear the beeps, the whistles, and I went, I feel like I'm just on a naval ship, with the whistling, because it's like you would hear the boatswain whistle, that kind of boatswain.
Nice whistling skills, by the way, there.
Oh, thank you. If I have to purse my lips together and blow air, I'm all about it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh, so causing major damages to each other's ships during this whole submarine battle, if you will, as you like to say, Khan can't accept defeat. His vengeance cannot be quelled.
I love it.
Decides to activate. One last thing was to activate the Genesis device, which would have killed everything in sight to create new life.
Yes. I mean, he gives off so many great monologues here. I mean, like when he talks about the Khan's best served cold monologue is so exciting, and like it just words goes without saying like how often that's been repeated. I mean, like Quentin Tarantino makes a flashing reference towards it in Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But watching Khan go down the way he does is such a great badass villainous way to go. It's like he never shows mercy through 1 second. He quotes Moby Dick. His last breath is quoting Moby Dick and talking about how he spits. He spits his last breath. And like I'm listening to some, watching this, and you watch him die, and then you watch him die, and then all of a sudden you realize Kirk wins. But does he really win? And my theory is like not at all. Like, to me, the metaphor, just bear with me for a moment here. I think at the end of the day, Khan wins this movie. And I'll tell you why. The Kobayashi is always meant to be how you would handle death. In this case, he has to handle the death of Spock, his best friend. I mean, that is worse than him losing his own life. And therefore, he finally comes in face to face with Kobayashi, metaphorically, and has to accept this loss. And that's why I think Khan wins it in the end.
No, you're very, very well said, because once you get to that point at 1 hour 32 minutes into the movie, you get to the point where Spock is going to initiate his sacrifice to get the mains online, even though he's getting this heavy dose of radiation that's going to kill him.
But only a Vulcan can do it.
He did not have to. Only a Vulcan can do it. He doesn't have time to explain the logic of it. So go down, Bones. Down you go. Fucking great.
Down you go, Bones. Down you go.
Down you go.
I don't know why. That was just a great line.
Yeah, I want that on a t-shirt. And I will admit, I weeped. Thinking about it now, I weeped. I mean, I knew that he was gonna die, but it was
yeah. I know.
That was such a sad scene. So well acted. The delivery of lines, the dialogue between Shatner and Spock was just so gut wrenching. And so you're going, oh no. And it's like when he brings back the original line of the need to the mini, and then Shatner finishes the line for him. And then he goes down, and you're just like,
set up so well in the beginning of the movie too.
I know.
The dialogue is so rich in this film. I'm almost pissed off it wasn't nominated for an Oscar for like best original screenplay.
I don't know. So what awards did it win? But I'm gonna go. I'll look that up.
Oh, I'm sure it won enough Saturn Awards. That's for sure.
It's Saturn Awards. Hell yeah, that's the one.
That's the one that really counts. Sci-fi's. Yeah. I mean, like, I think I could understand where Quentin Tarantino comes from when he says that he would want to do a Star Trek film, because with him he does so many crossovers into different types of genres in his own films that, like, Star Wars Trek does essentially the same thing, and it's done it before this movie. It's like it's always took the sci-fi element and goes, all right, well, we'll do sci-fi mixed with action, we'll do sci-fi mixed with drama, we'll do sci-fi mixed with, like, some other, like, put your genre here title, like, and they always manage to accomplish it. I mean, heck, they even do gangster stuff. True. I think Nicholas uncredited work. I mean, I think that's a crime in itself. But the three-dimensional characters to this familiar crew, I mean, is just a whole other level that we've never seen before. And it's impressive. It's impressive what he lays down as, like, boom. And you know what the best part is that, like, we'll see later on in this franchise, but, like, this man comes back for more.
Yes, he does Undiscovered Country, I think, after this one, right?
He directs 2 and writes 3 screenplays, if I recall.
For Star Trek, right?
For Star Trek, yes.
Yeah, I'll look it up right now. But I want to touch on the funeral service for Spock.
Dude, Scotty with the bagpipes.
That was actually suggested by the actor himself, Doohan, and that was just and Shatner's line, his eulogy, that delivery of that eulogy was great. When he goes, his was the most, and his lips quiver and his face shakes and his lips quiver, and he goes, "Human, I lost it. I wanted to cry more."
Yeah, it's really heartbreaking. It's part of it. I'm glad I didn't do it, but part of me wishes that Kirstie character would have just shed like a somewhat of a tear at that point, because, like, there's so much raw emotion going on, but, like, the transfer of communication between Spock's last words and then Kirk's last words, like, to the crew about Spock is just some of the best performances you've actually could get out of William Shatner.
Oh, he really did Nicholas Meyer did such a phenomenal job with his direction in this film. And it really shows because even when Kirstie Alley's character, Lieutenant Saavik, was not showing emotions, you can kind of see it in the body language.
Yes.
And who knows
especially with the eyes.
Yeah, where she was trying to not look, but look. You could just see there was complications, something more complex that was underlying everything with Lieutenant Saavik. And I thought, this movie is well directed, just solid direction from beginning to end. You really see that he pulls it out. Whatever he did, he really pulls it out. The
directing and the script writing is just on par, phenomenal.
Right, and it's a shame that he never got the credit for the writing credit for this, because it's not until you go and you do your research and you find out that because he did it in 12 days and was able to actually get such a great script out, but because I think it was so short on time, that was it. It's like, no, you can't really get credit for it, and didn't get paid for the writing part of it. He only got paid for the director part, which I didn't realize they're two different salaries.
Oh, very much so. But like that, but that just shows you how hungry Myers is. He takes $15 million and he makes it into a masterpiece. I mean, let's be honest. Where Robert Wise hit a home run, Mike Nicholson hit a grand slam.
Yeah,
Nicholas Smosh hits a grand slam. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, so beautiful. Good, great. And then he went on to write Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, and wrote and directed the Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, which we will cover later on. But yeah,
which is the original name of Wrath of Khan. It was originally supposed to be Star Trek Undiscovered Country because of the Genesis project.
Yep.
And then they were like, Wrath of Khan would sound better, and
it was supposed to be called the Vengeance of Khan, but because production was already working on Star Wars Episode 6, Revenge of the Sith, they didn't want it to be close, so they changed the name to Wrath of Khan.
Love it.
But then, of course, George Lucas eventually changes it to Return of the Jedi.
Where everything works out for the better for both sides of those franchises.
Yeah, that's how that timeline worked out, man.
You gotta love how
that's how that timeline worked out, and it worked out. Sometimes it's always for the better.
So now, all right. So now that we've kind of are at the end of this, and we're 2 films in, I think a great ending, kind of to go off with the podcast, would be like, how would you rank this now? What is your 1? What is your 2?
Oh, this is my 1.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, right?
As I said before in the previous episode, I cannot recommend Star Trek the motion picture and or really you're really into filmmaking, because Star Trek the motion picture is really a filmmaker's film, whereas this one is a movie that is what movies tend to be, which are entertaining. And this movie entertained me from beginning, middle, and end. There was never a point where I dozed off at all in this movie. I was very enthralled throughout the film. I was very into it. I remember looking at my foxy wife and saying, I love this movie.
Is that I'm only an hour right there to the left?
The one right behind me till there's one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Is that your wife?
That's
my foxy wife.
This is my foxy wife.
It's a foxy. Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
She's got great eyes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. They're hazel.
Hazel. You don't find that often.
No, you do not.
I'm sorry, we got lost in your wife there. Is that a hacky sack?
No, it's a knitted turd.
Who made that?
A friend of mine about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
10 years ago made this for me. When on my 25th birthday.
Yeah.
He made this turd. He crocheted it. And I've had it ever since.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Isn't it? This is fantastic.
That's friendship right there.
But yeah, I would rank this as number 1 because my overall feelings of it, fucking love this movie. I cannot express enough that I like well-paced, engaging story, nothing drawn out, great dialogue, great monologues, great direction. I honestly see why people.
It's a full package. It's a full package.
Just right there. It's in a nice little Amazon box for you. What? All right. So where do you rank this film?
I mean, this movie's like I said before, it's a pop culture phenomenon. I mean, I put it number 1 for sure. But having said that, I do put the motion picture at a very close second because I am the little film junkie who appreciates all the work that was put into the motion picture. Which I agree with you. If you're not if you're more of a movie watcher as opposed to like a film watcher or whichever one's the most
however you want to
say it, yeah. Like it's fun. And you know what? I wish I saw this movie in theaters because I would have paid for it at least 5 times.
Right?
Yeah. I think if we ever get the opportunity, we should drive halfway distance and try to figure out like a place where they're actually going to put it in the cinema again.
Oh my god! I think at what I know the movie theater that's not too far from me. It's a Cobb, and
like the one you smoke out of.
The one you smoke out of, like a corn cob pipe. They will do classic movies, and around December they usually do show Die Hard.
Oh yeah, of course. That's a Christmas classic.
Yeah, it's not quite Christmas until you see Hans fall off the side of the Nakatomi Tower. You know what I mean?
That's right. What a beautiful face reveal.
Oh my god, yeah,
like I would love a Christmas present.
It ain't, buddy. But I would love to see the Wrath of Khan in theaters. I would love to watch. I watch it. I'm watching all these movies on my 65 inch, and I mean, it's great. What I see is it's like being in a mini movie theater sometimes. I absolutely love it. I never thought I would have a TV that big in my house.
That's very fun.
I would blow my fucking 10-year-old mind if it's like, man, I have a TV. You do 65 inches. My 10-year-old me be like, what? How did the video games
TV's that big?
Oh my goodness! And it's this thin, son.
Yeah, the thin part. That's the best part. It's like, what? TVs went on Jenny Craig? That's awesome.
Yeah. Depending on what year, it's 98 Jenny or 99 Jenny or 02 Jenny.
Or Thigh Master.
Thigh Master.
All right,
however that goes. All right. Sign us out, man.
All right. I am Captain Spencer signing off with our good friend Admiral Leon.
Live long and prosper.